Well, good morning and welcome back to another edition of the Bakersfield Business Partners podcast. My name is Duncan Harris. I'm the owner of Insurance Savings Group and the past president of Bakersfield Business Partners. And we're a B&I chapter here in Bakersfield, and we're helping our membership grow through referrals, through education, and also through relationships. And we have the best group in Bakersfield. Is indisputable at this point. And the reason is we have the best membership. So we started a podcast to highlight our members. And so here we are again today. We meet every Friday, and I am with Nick at SSD Alarms.
Yes, sir.
My mind went blank there for a second, and I was like, who am I here with today? But
you don't have to attempt my last name. It's pretty long.
Well, why don't you introduce yourself, and you can correctly pronounce your first and last name.
Yeah, so Nick Mihalopoulos. I am a sales manager at SSD Alarm here in Bakersfield.
Perfect. And so we're going to start out with this very personal question. So your name is Nick.
Mm-hmm.
You have a Greek last name.
Yep.
What's up with the Nick first name for Greek people? What's up with that?
It's super common. My grandpa's name was Nick. I'm sure his grandpa's name was Nick, and his grandpa's name was Nick.
Is it like the firstborn, or is it, what is that?
So there's like a naming system within our family. My dad's first name is technically Anthony, which is my middle name.
Okay.
And my uncle's name is George, which was my grandpa's middle name. So basically there's only a couple of names. And so I'm supposed to name my firstborn son after my father, which is what my father did with me. And then if you have like a second son, then you can name them after, your uncle or basically whatever like rotating name is in the system. So within the Greek culture, it's very
through like
very
a
common.
System of inbreeding. It's all been reduced down to like Nick. Is that right?
I think it's just one of the best options out of all the names because there's it's just culturally sounds good. Nick, Nicholas, Nico.
Yeah.
The other options are George, Anthony.
Those names are terrible names compared to Nick.
Personally, I'm kind of biased. I think Nick is the best one.
It's the best. Look, I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
No,
like
you're
that.
good.
Thank
You're
you for being fun and having fun with that. Let's talk about why you're here, what you do. Who do you work for?
Yeah, so SSD Alarm is a local family-owned commercial integrator. We do security solutions, access control, video, and also like video integrations and fire alarms for commercial businesses. We also work with residential customers, but most of our business is in the commercial space.
Okay, cool. And how long have you been with SSD?
I've been with SSD 6 years, going on 6 years, pretty close to it.
Yeah, right at 6. Now let's go back before that. Tell me a little bit about yourself. What were you doing before you were with SSD?
Yeah, before I was with SSD, I've always been a worship leader in churches as well. So I was doing that kind of constantly throughout my career. I started going to college in Alaska and then went to Utah at Dixie State. There I picked up working for another local residential home security system company and just doing straight door-to-door sales, learning about the industry and learning about sales, and always kind of stayed in that space of sales, whether it was working in the finance space or it was in the D2D security space, and then found my way to SSD Alarm. And once I made it to commercial integrations and realized how much more opportunity there was in that space, it made a lot of sense to stay in the commercial space, and I've been here ever since.
Cool. No, it sounds like you really like it. So tell me, you said you work with businesses or in the commercial space. What's like a really good customer or ideal customer for you?
I think the ideal customer for us is another family-owned business or a location that might have 4 or 5 buildings, a large commercial space that could be anywhere from 10 to 30,000 square feet or higher.
Okay.
Those businesses have specific security and fire alarm needs.
Okay.
Usually they need a camera system as well. They need a security system. Depending on compliance, they'll need a fire alarm system. And then lastly, many of them are interested in access control. Like when we walked into this building today, somebody had access control to get into the front door with a key card. So that's a very basic idea of access control.
Okay.
Well.
So, these are maybe not brand new startup companies. These are companies with, substantial space. They're either renting or they have their own building. And there's probably a lot of people coming in and out, and then I would assume then they have expensive assets on the property too, maybe a lot of inventory or computer equipment or sensitive financial information.
Right.
So, and you come in, do most of your customers have like an existing system and they have problems, or they're like, hey, we're buying a brand new building? What's that look like?
Yeah. What I find most of the time is that I come into a location. It's a business that's moving in. They're usually leasing the building, or they've just purchased it, and there's an existing system from whoever owned the building before.
Okay.
And many times that existing system is actually a home security system that was installed in a commercial business.
Put on a business, yeah.
It's a residential grade wireless home security system, or maybe it was a DIY system. Somebody bought some things on Amazon or some cameras at Costco and tried to install it themselves. And they're asking me if I can just turn that system on or activate that system. And usually that's whenever I start the conversation with them about residential grade versus commercial grade solutions, and find out what their needs are and what their plans are. Every business is different. I definitely would acknowledge that. So whenever I'm talking to a business owner, I want to understand what their goal is for their business, what their goal is for the protection of their business, and their plans for even outside of the business, like fenced in areas. Sometimes they store work vehicles. I have a lot of customers that are tradesmen, electricians, heavy equipment operators, rental spaces, and they park hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars worth of equipment and gear outside in a fenced in area, and there's usually nothing protecting it, but maybe a camera system that someone bought at Costco and put in themselves.
Right. Yeah. For $88 or something.
Right.
Well, what is the biggest difference to the layman or the person who's uneducated on security? What is maybe some of the biggest differences between residential or like a little private small system versus like maybe a commercial grade program?
So a commercial grade system, number one, it's going to support a lot of commercial features, such as having hundreds of users. You might need a lot of employees to be able to arm and disarm a system at a factory or a refinery, or a warehouse facility. The next most important thing to mention is that it's probably also hardwired, meaning that there's actual data cable running from the brain of the system, the panel, all the way to the device that it's monitoring, whether it's a door contact or a motion detector or a keypad, or if it's a fire alarm system, it's going to be smoke detectors, heat detectors, horn strobes, and if it's access control, it's going to be the actual physical cards. But all of those are connected through either Cat5, Cat6, or low voltage wiring of some type, so that we have direct connection to that device. It's not going over Wi-Fi or some other like wireless frequency that's vulnerable to security and battery failure.
Okay.
And we can also monitor that through a line, so that we understand if that device drops off of the system, if the wire's cut, it's being monitored. It shows up for us immediately, whereas some other wireless systems, they don't all offer that same level of protection.
Interesting. Okay. What do you think sets you and SSD Alarm apart from your competition?
That's a great question. It's definitely going to be our in-house engineering. We're an engineering first company. Whenever we look at a location or a design, we're really looking at it from a standpoint of security and engineering that security into the entire system. What does that mean? Well, whenever you have a location and you think about just the daily operation, someone walks into the building, how are we going to arm and disarm the system? And is it viable for it to be done safely without the alarm system always going off or always triggering? Have we protected the panel components from vulnerability to a break-in? Because whenever someone does break in, if you're dealing with an actual professional, the first thing they're trying to do is get to the security system and disconnect it from power, disconnect it from data. And so we need to also put that in a location in the building that is secured and protect that with other devices. Also, the features that are going to be engineered into the system, how do they work? I mean, down to the data transmission, the frame rate of the cameras, the megapixels, the resolution, the terabytes of storage on a camera system. We're taking all of that into a calculation, and we're running that all by certified engineers that we have on staff in-house. Some other companies don't do that. They just kind of buy stuff from, online wherever they can, install it, and it works. If the door opens, the alarm goes off, but they haven't really engineered anything beyond that. And so we really shine whenever you're looking at a location that requires that level of engineering, like a jewelry store, a location that has UL requirements. UL is Underwriters Laboratory. So sometimes insurance requirements will say you have to have a UL rated system, which means it needs to be engineered by someone that is fully aware of those requirements, battery backup systems, how long will the system run if power gets shut off to the building. So you have to really do some calculations, which is honestly not something I personally do a lot of.
Right.
But I have to go to our in-house engineers and present something as simple as a burglar system for a jewelry store, because we need to know that if someone does break into this location, that it's going to be compliant with all of those regulations. And then in terms of a fire alarm, that requires a significant amount of engineering plan sets, engineering submittals to, city and county fire marshals.
Okay.
So at that level, you're required. There's no way to do it without an engineer, but we have all of ours in-house.
So not just security, but fire alarms as well. Do you guys do like new construction stuff, or is it all like existing buildings?
Yeah, everything up to and including that. So new construction is great. New construction also usually comes with a full set of engineered plans. There's usually an architect involved already, which is super helpful. Other times we'll come into a building like one I'm working on right on this street, and it has a very old fire alarm system, and the fire marshal is telling them that they need to bring it up to code, or they need to make some additional notification throughout, make it safer for the residents or the occupants. So other times we'll be retrofitting a new system to an older building. So all of those things are available and possible. It really just is a case-by-case scenario.
Okay, and you said you did some residential. Could you kind of touch on that quickly?
Yeah, so most of my residential clients are going to be my commercial clients that want us in their home.
Got it.
I equate this to, if you are a restaurant owner, most restaurant owners have a nice Viking range inside of their house eventually, because they love having the big commercial grade stove and cooktop that they have at their restaurant. That's what it's like to put a commercial grade system inside of your home. It might not be as sleek and wireless as the residential, but it does have all of the features that a commercial grade offering has, and it's built to last for decades, not for 1 or 2 years.
Right. Till the software gets updated.
Exactly.
Tell me, I don't know if we touched on this. How did SSD Alarm start? When did that happen? And tell me maybe a little bit about the backstory of SSD Alarm.
So that was definitely before I was born.
Oh, really? Okay. So it's older company then.
Yeah, SSD's been doing this for 55 years plus.
Oh my gosh, wow.
Right now. So they started in Southern California in a camera shop. Our owner is still the owner today. Great guy, has a background in law enforcement. So, Southern California camera shop continues to grow and expand, and here we are today.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what is new in your industry, in your space? Is it new technology, new laws? Like what's kind of maybe the biggest things affecting your business today?
Yeah, so right now we're seeing a resurgence, well, not really a resurgence, but the growth of AI in every sector. I think we're seeing this in business all across the board. Anybody that deals with technology is seeing AI rise in prominence. And what we see right now is with video integrations are merging with AI right now at such an incredible rate that it's changing the landscape of what a video system looks like in a business or in a municipality, in a city, and all across the world right now. Camera systems are not just recording what's happening, but now they're analyzing what is happening for the end user. They're getting smarter and smarter, and what that really looks like.
What does that look like?
For a commercial business that might have a warehouse, for instance, they're shipping and receiving. The camera system of 10 years ago was just recording the events, and if something happened, somebody slips and falls, or if there's a break-in, you come and look at the footage 2 days later when you realize the truck was stolen, and you go, oh man, better send this to our insurance company. The camera system of today can tell you that stuff is happening before it happens, like the truck being stolen. The camera system of today can detect people and vehicles that are appearing on your yard after hours in designated areas before they get to your assets. It can already identify people and deem them as a threat if they're loitering in one spot for too long. It can pick up anomalies in your daily activity, such as somebody running in your office. The camera system might say, why is that person running? That's not a normal behavior. Something as simple as a shout, a scream. If you're in like a very, conservative office setting, it would be uncommon for somebody to yell, right?
Yeah. I yell at my people all the time, so that wouldn't trigger anything.
We have there's exterior, gunshot, glass break. All of those type of analytics exist right now, and so that is just a small piece of what AI is doing. We're also seeing it enable things like person detection and vehicle detection at an incredible rate. So if you have the exterior of your building, let's say you have a bunch of vehicles parked in a fenced in area, they're probably electrical trucks, or they're full of gear. Or they have catalytic converters underneath that people want to take. The last thing you want is for someone to be able to get into that space without you knowing about it. There's older technology that exists where it was like a beam. Somebody had to walk through a beam and then it would set the alarm off. But those were able to be overcome if you could get over the beam, under the beam, around the beam. And they were also very expensive to install because they required underground trenching and a lot of other challenges with power and routing cable. With the camera systems of today, we're able to monitor pretty far off, hundreds of feet away from the camera, and be able to detect people. If anything moves in there, not only is the camera system going to alert us at our monitoring center, but we're also going to alert you as the business owner. We can send you a clip of the event we've identified, and you can tell us in real time if this is a real alarm or not. And having that capability dramatically reduces, false alarms, things like that. So if Duncan's actually supposed to be there picking up a work truck at 3:00 in the morning, then, there's not a problem. And also Duncan probably should have disarmed the system before he went in there.
Duncan's dumb.
Yeah. Duncan might get a talking to tomorrow, but we don't have to send the police at 3:00 in the morning. That's one of the things we're seeing emerge. And I would also like to talk about access control if I can.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Access control is another piece that is growing rapidly. When we walked in this morning, I noticed there was access control in this building.
So what does that mean? That means
like a key card to open a door.
Okay.
That's simple access control, where you have a credential. It's usually a key card. You'll beep, and it will let you into a door. You see them in hospitals, in banks, in businesses like this where there's multiple suites. But the access control of 10 years ago is this key card right here. It unlocks a door. The access control of today, it uses your cell phone as your credential instead of needing a key card. There's some huge benefits to that. Number one, this credential can be duplicated. If it's a low or high frequency credential card, it can be duplicated as easy as going to Home Depot. There's card kiosks that you can duplicate a physical key at, but you can also duplicate a digital credential at.
Wow.
Very simply. So imagine you issued somebody a key card and they work at your business and they've created a couple copies for themselves. They might be able to open up the doors of your facility at any given time, depending on what type of system you have. With it on your cell phone, it's a little bit different. You can't really duplicate that as easy, right? The cell phone also has some distinct advantages because if, for instance, Duncan works at our facility and we have a credential for him, but Duncan gets transferred to another location, we can easily just change your credentials on your phone by sending you an email or remotely changing the programming. So now your credential lets you in at our new facility and not at our old facility. Or let's say Duncan doesn't work for us. He's coming here for an appointment. like you did today. Nobody has to go to the door to let you in. We can text you a guest pass, and now you can get in the door one time. Or you can get in the door just on Monday.
Wow,
if you're
that's
coming
interesting.
here, if you're coming here and you're a contractor that's scheduled to work for 3 days on the lighting, or you're the plumber, I can send you a temporary passcode. Just text it to your phone. Now you can get in the door at your scheduled time, and after 5 o'clock or whenever your appointment's over, you don't have access to get in anymore. Those are just some of the things that are happening in access control right now that I think some people aren't aware of. And so usually when I'm talking to a business, obviously, like I said, I want to know what their daily expectation is of operations, because some people won't need this system, but others really can't not have it right now. If you have hundreds of contractors coming in and out of your plant, the last thing you want is to have to keep track of hundreds or thousands of key cards for people, and they lose them.
They get lost.
They forget them at home.
Right.
When's the last time you forgot your cell phone at home?
Yeah. Well, it's been a while. No,
Exactly.
Never, maybe. I don't know.
When's the last time you gave your cell phone to somebody else and let them just take it? Because that happens with key cards all the time.
My kids take my cell phone all the time, actually. I'm kidding. I'm teasing. So,
Right.
I mean, all these solutions and aspects you described seem very detailed, very complicated. Obviously your engineers do some work on it. So if I call you and we meet, I mean, how long does it take to get like a proposal back from you guys?
I'm shooting to get a proposal back to someone within 24 hours.
Oh, wow. So it's pretty quick. Okay.
Yeah, there are times whenever it could be a more invasive process, if it's such as a fire alarm, where we need to have engineering sit down and draft some takeoff plans and really make a code compliant system. But if it's something like an access control system or a video system or a security system, I can usually get that turned around in 24 hours.
Okay, cool. What advice would you give to your clients? Or maybe a better way of asking this question is like, what are some of the common mistakes you see people making when they're going out to get an alarm system?
They're picking a residential system for their commercial space. They have a residential system at home, and they think this would work perfectly for our business.
Right.
And then they install it at their business, and they realize that it's designed for a home, and then they call me after the fact.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It didn't work right.
Right, or it's designed for being armed for a home. The landscape of your home is very different. It's designed for a home because the home usually doesn't have drop tile ceilings or space where you can run wires. A home usually is made of drywall, not metal, on the outside. These wireless devices don't send their signal through metal walls very well at all, or metal exteriors of buildings at all. So if you take your home security Wi-Fi camera and you put it outside of your business, you're just asking for problems.
Good luck.
Already. Exactly.
Well, let's do this. We've covered a lot of things. Is there anything else you kind of want to mention about yourself or SSD Alarm before we kind of shift gears and talk about our networking chapter?
I think that, just as far as low voltage security, fire life safety, it's important to get with an integrator, whether it's me or someone else that has experience in the commercial space.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a commercial grade system, it's so important. At least get a bid from a commercial integrator. Don't be okay with just using a home security system to protect your business, especially if your business is significantly holding assets or inventory inside. If you think about that, I mean, I was at a location yesterday that has a self-installed, straight from Amazon, $90 Wi-Fi camera, and it's observing what I would estimate probably about $5,000 worth of, $5 million worth of heavy equipment. Even if it was $5,000,
right,
it needs more protection than that small Wi-Fi camera. But I mean, I'm talking about huge, heavy equipment that moves earth and builds freeways, and it's being protected by the cheapest solution out there.
Yeah.
And you really have to ask yourself, is that the best decision to protect your business? And if you come to the realization that it's not, then call a commercial integrator, whether it's myself or somebody else, because there are solutions out there that can protect your business and keep you informed about what's going on 24/7 in your business as well.
Perfect. And if someone wanted to get a hold of you, it's the phone number or website. What's the best way?
So they can call me directly here in Bakersfield. I also cover our Northern California region and our San Diego region. And my phone number is 661-316-9118. Or they can always call our local office here. It's just a local number, 661-588-HELP. HELP.
Oh, I like that.
588-4357. It'll ring right to our monitoring center in Bakersfield.
588 HELP.
Yep.
Oh, that's a good number. That's good. I like it. Well, cool. So let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about Bakersfield Business Partners, our BNI chapter. Tell me how you found our group.
I was referred to Bakersfield Business Partners by a friend of mine, Ellie, from 88.3 Life FM. She said, hey, there's this really cool business networking thing. I don't know if you'd be into that or not, but come check it out. You know, it's free breakfast.
That hooks everybody.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And we'd love to have you come check it out. And so, of course, I said, yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm in business and I love networking.
Yeah.
And I'm always willing to eat a breakfast burrito, especially if it's free.
Yeah, of course. So, and you're one of our newer members, maybe the newest member.
I think I am, yeah.
I mean, just initially, can you kind of give me like what your overall experience has been and maybe kind of some of the things you've learned so far?
Yeah. After my first 2 meetings there, I went back to our corporate office and I said, this is legit. These guys are professional. There's some heavy hitters that are in the group that I already recognize just from business here locally. People that are credible, and they're definitely doing the work required for this to be a valuable time spent. Because in business, eventually you get to a point where your time is more valuable because there's only a limited amount of it.
Yeah.
And so being able to commit an hour or more once a week, it's not that big of a commitment. However, that 1 hour is extremely valuable. And so I wanted to make sure that it was a valuable time spent. And after being there just for a couple of weeks, trying it out, getting to know some people, introductions, and seeing how focused you guys were and the great community you've developed, I absolutely had to be a part of it. There was no way I couldn't be a part of it after joining.
Oh, that's great. No, look, we love to hear that. And you definitely touched on something that's so important is like as business people, salespeople, business owners, we're all so busy. And we do. As members of this group, we choose to meet every week. The meeting starts at 7:30 and it goes till 9. And we strictly adhere to those time frames. Like we do not go over, like we keep track of the time. But I mean, we have members in the group that have been here for 10 to 15 years. And the reason is the group has proven to be a valuable use of time. Coming to the group, getting educated every week by other high quality people, reputable professionals in the group, and then also getting referrals and building relationships. It's helped the bottom line of all our businesses. It's helped us kind of become more well-rounded people, like more educated in what's going on in different business areas. So well, I'm glad you found that. I'm glad you're in the group. You're a great member. I mean, you're a quality individual, and I'm just super happy that you found us, that Ellie invited you.
Yeah, it's been great. The community has been welcoming me with open arms. I've had so many people ask to have one-to-ones and sit down with me, schedule appointments. Let's go get coffee. Let's go get lunch. And it's been great to hear what their businesses are like too. That's I find that everybody wants to know what I'm doing first, but like I said before, my favorite part is finding out what other people do, seeing what they're passionate about and discussing that with them, because it fans that flame of that entrepreneurial go-getter, bootstrap, go make it happen attitude inside of me, and it just it's so great to see that in other people. It makes you feel like you're not alone in this venture of business and trying to make something happen,
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing our group also is there for, is we meet every Tuesday and you're with other people, as Nick just said, that are like passionate and they're energized and they're motivated, and that is contagious.
Yeah.
And if you're having a bad week and you come to BNI, like you're going to be uplifted, just from all the other positive energy that's in the room. So it's a great point.
I've immediately started scheduling any sales call that I have for Tuesday around like 9:45. Because I know that I'm just going to go into that like gassed up and ready to go, because I just came from a BP or the BNI meeting.
Perfect. Well, cool. Look, we're gonna wrap it up here. If you'd like to attend a meeting, we meet every Tuesday morning, and we start at 7:30. We finish at 9 promptly, and we're just a group of professionals who learn about each other's businesses, and then we ultimately try and pass referrals to each other. And we've been a group for 10, 15 years. Every year we pass over $1 million in referrals within the group. So that's closed business. That's, dollars directly generated from our referral partners in the group. So come check us out. We're Bakersfield Business Partners. We meet every Tuesday morning. The last thing, probably the most important thing, is now that Nick and SSD Alarm are in our group, we're not going to invite any other alarm companies into the group. So it's exclusive that way. And he's protected. And then Nick has to come to every meeting and follow certain guidelines. So he's a good member. So everyone does their part. Well, look, thank you. Happy Friday. Anything else you want to say before we close out?
Oh, man. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be a part of Bakersfield Business Partners, and I'm looking forward to episode 2 already.
All right. Sounds good. Well, we'll close it there. Nick, have a good one. And until next time, you guys take care.
Peace.